Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Qasim, and today I'm going to be reviewing the iPhone 12 Pro Max to help you all decide whether this is the right iPhone 12 model for you. So by now, you guys should be pretty familiar with the iPhone 12. So everything here is the same, right? You've got the A14 chip, you've got the Super Retina XDR display, and the list goes on and on. But what I wanted to focus on is the differences between the Pro and Pro Max. Because when you go to buy the Pro at 128, 256, or 512 gigabytes, the Pro Max is just going to be $100 more for each option. So if you can handle the fact that this is a larger phone, trust me, it's going to be worth the upgrade. So first I want to start with the camera system. Now the Pro and Pro Max literally have the same camera system except for the fact that since the Pro Max is a larger phone, it's got a larger lens on all three cameras, and for the telephoto, you've got 2.5 times zoom, and the aperture has increased by 0.2. You've also got sensor shift stabilization in that main camera. Now, on paper, this might not seem like a lot, but when you do go to shoot photos or video, you're really going to notice the difference. So real quickly, first I want to explain to you what a telephoto lens actually does. Now, a telephoto lens is responsible for understanding the depth of field. So essentially, a larger and increased aperture lens should have better depth of field. So what I wanted to do is actually record the screen of my iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max in the same scene and see how the depth of field reacts on both cameras. So in this first clip, you're going to see the screen recording of my view of the camera, and notice as I pan towards the iPhone, just pay attention to the curtains in the back and the house in the back. And you'll notice that as the Pro pans towards the iPhone, the curtains and the house are getting blurred. Now in this next clip, this is the 12 Pro Max. Now pay attention to the same thing, the curtains and the house. And you should notice that the house and curtains and the background in general has more blur. This is that telephoto lens doing the work. If you guys want to see it again and again, you guys can actually go back and forth. But the reason I wanted to get a full screen view of it is so that you can really get that detail. Because I know a lot of us watch content on our phones, so I really wanted to make sure I'm able to capture all that detail and explain it to you really well. Now this translates for photos as well. So in the 12 Pro photo here that you're going to see, you'll see my friend Chewbacca sitting on top of this ledge. And you'll notice in the background, there's plenty of blur. This is a great photo. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this photo. But now this same shot taken at the same time from the 12 Pro Max, you're going to notice that the amount of blur is more in the background, and in general, this picture is brighter. So these were both taken yesterday at 4:07 p.m. and you'll see that the light, it's just brighter on the Pro Max, and that is again because of the larger lenses, and not just the telephoto. All three lenses are larger, and that increased aperture on that telephoto lens, that is doing the work. So I actually stayed outside for a couple of hours yesterday. I started shooting when it was brighter, and then I waited until sunset to really get an idea as to how these cameras are reacting to the light. So now again, here in this first clip, this is from the 12 Pro, and if you look at the houses in the back, they have a nice blur to them. This doesn't look bad by any means. It's not that this camera isn't performing well. But if we take the same clip and play it back from what the 12 Pro Max captured, you'll notice again here that the depth of field and the blur in the background is more. And again, this is just that telephoto camera doing the work. Alright, so in this next photo, I want you guys to pay attention to the sky. So the left part of the sky, the houses, the trees, the blades of grass. This was taken from the 12 Pro. Now in this next photo, you're going to see that it's taken from the 12 Pro Max. And look at the sky. Look at the detail in that left part of the sky. Look at the overall depth of field. Look at the blur of the trees, the blur of the blades of grass. Everything is just so much better in the 12 Pro Max's photo. Now guys, I could continue like this forever. Trust me, I have so much footage. I was out for a couple of hours and I got tons of footage, and repeatedly I noticed that the 12 Pro Max just does a better job. And that's simply because of the larger lenses and that increased aperture. So it's doing a really good job, especially as things start getting darker. Now, by no means am I saying that the 12 Pro camera is bad, but I just want to show you that if you are going to spend that extra $100 and upgrade to the 12 Pro Max, then you should really get that bang for your buck, and your money should be worth it. And trust me, if you're after that camera, if the camera is your top priority, then the 12 Pro Max is definitely the way to go. On the flip side, if you stick with the 12 Pro, you're not going to be disappointed by any means. If you like the size of the 12 Pro and you think that that is the right one for you, you're not going to get bad footage at all. If you guys have seen my gold and silver comparison of the 12 Pro Max, then that opening scene and all the scenes in that video were shot from the 12 Pro. And if you have any doubt about that, then this is the photo that I had my brother take of me doing that opening scene. I literally just moved the 12 Pro slowly through the blades of the grass and came in towards the iPhones. And that footage absolutely blew me away. The fact that you can get that kind of footage from an iPhone, it's absolutely amazing. Another thing I want to mention real quick is the optical zoom. So you have optical zoom on the 12 Pro Max up to 2.5 times. Now, real quick tip for you guys, don't ever take a photo from your iPhone and pinch in to zoom on anything. Use the 0.5, 1, or 2x zoom, whichever 3 options that are available to you, because those are coming from the lens. And what that's going to do is retain that quality of the image. So if you actually just pinch in to zoom on something, then what's going to happen is you're going to lose a lot of the quality, because optical zoom actually happens within the lens. And since the lens itself is zooming in to the image, then you're not going to lose that quality of the image. So if you ever want to take a picture of your iPhone, whichever model you have, even the older ones, always use the zoom options that are built in. Never pinch in to zoom. And if you just want to get a really good photo, then just get closer to the subject as opposed to using the pinch to zoom. All right, next I want to talk about sensor shift stabilization. This is pretty awesome, and the fact that you're getting it on this 12 Pro Max is really cool. Sensor shift stabilization is different than optical image stabilization in the sense that the actual sensor itself is moving. So as you're shooting video, as you're shooting photos, it's detecting motion using the gyroscope in your phone and countering that by moving the sensor, so that way you get the best and most stabilized video. So to test this out, I actually shot the entire iPhone 12 colors video using the 12 Pro Max. Now traditionally when I go to do these kind of really slow moving shots, I usually use my gimbal, but for that video I just used my hands, because I just wanted to test out and see how well the phone reacts to slight movements. You guys don't realize that when you're doing slow shots like that and you're just holding your phone out and you're just trying to slowly pan, there are minor movements in your hands that the phone is picking up on, and it's countering that by stabilizing them. That's why I don't use my other phones to record any of the videos without the gimbal, because I need that gimbal to properly stabilize the video. So I was really impressed, and if you want to just see how well stabilization can work, you can go check out that video. And trust me, on that day, it was really, really cold. It was, I think, 30 degrees outside. It was windy. My hands were freezing. And I'm just out here holding this phone and panning it slowly. And I was really amazed. Also, guys, so the front camera on both the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max is literally identical. So you're going to get equally good portraits. And that is something you really don't have to worry about between the two. And last but not least, you've got the ability to record with both phones in Dolby Vision 4K HDR. If you need help understanding what Dolby Vision or HDR is, I really broke it down in my 12 Pro review, so you guys can just jump to that video because I don't want to get into those details all over again. Alright, next let's talk about the display. Now the 12 Pro has a 6.1 inch and the 12 Pro Max has a 6.7 inch. And honestly, on paper, 0.6 inches might not seem like that big of a difference, but if you put these two side by side, this Pro Max makes the 12 Pro look like a small phone, and it's not by any means. But if you're somebody that enjoys watching content on the go or wherever for that means, you are not going to be disappointed. You have HDR built in here, so watching HDR content through Netflix and other streaming services, you're going to enjoy those real true to life colors and the fact that this can get up to a maximum brightness of 1200 nits just like the 12 Pro can. So both of these displays are equally beautiful, but if you're somebody that wants that bigger display just for the fact that you want to be able to watch your content in a better form factor, then this is the right phone for you. And what's surprising is that it's not that hard to hold in the hand. I have always shied away from the larger phones, especially the Max models. Like, I have never bought a Max or a Plus model simply because they've been too big. But this design, it is so nice and comfortable to hold in the hand that I could see myself actually using this phone daily, but I'm not going to, simply because I know if I have this phone, I'm going to spend way too much time watching content on here, and I don't want to do that. I want to spend lesser time on my phone. But if that's the kind of person that you are and you really want to watch content in the best way possible on the go, this is the right one. Next, I want to talk about battery life. Now, I was really amazed, and how I tested this is that when I took it out to shoot with this phone, I spent about 2.5 hours outside shooting one take after another. Obviously, most of the time I don't get my perfect shot in the first take, so I'm just out here shooting 4K video in 24 frames per second again and again and again for 2.5 hours, and I was only able to drain the battery by 20%. And that's when I knew right away that this phone, I am not going to be able to drain this out in one day. If you are somebody that has this phone and you're able to drain this out, let me know down below what you do, because I don't think that it is possible, at least for myself, to drain this battery out in one day. So honestly, in terms of battery life, you are going to be great. You are going to be good for the day. That is something definitely that you don't have to worry about. So next, I want to talk about the Magsafe charger. I know I mentioned this in my previous reviews, but what I notice here is different is the fact that when you actually put this on the charger, it's going to take a little bit longer, simply because this battery is huge, right? So you've got the bigger phone and bigger battery, and it's going to take longer to charge. But on the plus side, you're not going to need to charge this as much. You're not going to need to be dropping this phone on the charger again and again, because you should be able to get through the day. And the other thing that I noticed is that since this is a bigger phone, I actually use it vertically a lot. And when you do want to charge at the same time, I usually use my pinky finger to kind of hold the phone upright, so the phone is just resting on my pinky. So when I had the charging cable and I would plug it in, that kind of gets in the way. But with the Magsafe charger, you can kind of just rotate the cable to whatever orientation is comfortable for you, and you'll be good to go. So if you guys are looking for the Magsafe charger, definitely consider it as an option, and make sure you get that 20-watt brick so that you actually do get faster charging. All right, next I want to talk about the performance. And performance is something that you guys don't have to worry about. I've said this in my previous reviews as well. The A14 does a great job, whether that's, playing games, browsing the internet, whatever you're doing, you're not going to have any complaints in terms of performance with the 12 Pro Max. But where this A14 chip is important for a phone like this, when you have all these things like sensor shift stabilization, Dolby Vision 4K HDR, when you're out there recording a video, there's a lot of processing happening on the back end. When we think performance, we just usually see how quickly apps open and how quickly we can get things done. But when you're out there shooting a video and you've got Dolby Vision recording going on and the phone is trying to stabilize the sensor as well, there's a lot of things that are happening in the background, and that's why you need a processor like this. And trust me, it does the job really well. So that final question as to whether you should upgrade to the 12 Pro Max or just stick with the 12 Pro. Honestly, both phones shoot great photos, they shoot great video. And I know that for a fact simply because I've shot very nice looking shots with the 12 Pro and the Pro Max. But I have to say that since each gigabyte model is only $100 more for going to the Pro Max, if you guys can, if you can handle the fact that this is a bigger phone and that is still going to be comfortable for you, then I would say that you should definitely consider giving the 12 Pro Max a try, because those improvements in cameras, like that shot with the sunset in the background of the Chewbacca, that is a shot that, when you come home and you look at it, you want to be able to get those perfect shots. You don't want the sky to be like too overexposed or anything like that. And I know that you can tweak some settings and stuff and try to get the perfect picture when taking it, but just, as a raw picture, just opening up your camera, snapping a picture, and for it to turn out amazing, that's really awesome. So if you are focused on the camera and you want a bigger display in general, you guys are not going to be disappointed. So regardless of which gigabyte model that you get of the Pro or Pro Max, there's just $100 difference. So honestly, if you can, go out and buy this phone. Trust me, if you love photography, if you love videography, then you're going to enjoy this camera a lot. And the fact that you've got the bigger display, the better battery life, I mean, you really can't complain. And on the flip side, if you're somebody that's like, no, the Pro Max is too big, you're going to be more than happy. You're going to be able to get spectacular shots with the 12 Pro. Trust me, like I said, I've been playing around with these phones so much that I know that both of these are very much capable of getting good photos and very good videos. So either one that you get, you really just have to figure out whether you want the bigger one or the smaller one. Whichever one is going to be more comfortable. Because at the end of the day, that's what's most important. If you're not going to be comfortable with the size of the phone and you just want to go for the camera, then that doesn't really make sense. You shouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend it at all. And last, I know you guys are probably thinking, what, I just skipped the 5G? I decided to skip the 5G simply because I can't get 5G. I've tried with the 12 Pro, and it just doesn't exist for me. So I'm not even bothering with 5G. I don't think that should be a consideration as to why you should upgrade to any of the 12 models, not just the Pro Max. Alright, so that's it. That's all for me, guys. I really hope my comparisons of these photos and videos and the shots that I showed you guys can really help you in deciding whether or not the 12 Pro Max is the right phone for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below with anything that you'd like to say, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next video.